My wife cheated on me with her boss, then stole $250, $0 from our joint account and filed for divorce claiming I abandoned her. Now she's trying to take everything, including the house worth $800, $0. In a bitter legal battle I never saw coming. I never thought I'd be the guy sitting here, writing about how my wife, Lisa, turned out to be nothing but a lying, cheating bitch. Honestly, I thought we had a solid marriage. We had our issues, sure, but I believed we loved each other. That is, until the day I found out she'd been screwing her boss, Mark, for months behind my back. The craziest part, she was pretending everything was fine, acting like I was paranoid or insecure. Little did I know, she was sneaking around with him in hotel rooms, going on trips she never mentioned, and even lying about her whereabouts when I called her during the day. It all started about 6 months ago. Lisa was working late more often, claiming she had big projects or important meetings. I didn't think much of it at first. She's a marketing executive, so late nights happen. But then I noticed her phone was constantly active at odd hours, texts, calls, emails that she'd hide quickly if I got close. She'd get defensive if I asked about her day, snapping that I was being overly suspicious. But I knew better. I felt it in my gut, that nagging feeling that something was wrong. One day, I decided to check her phone when she was in the shower. I don't normally do that, but I was just desperate for some clarity. What I saw made my stomach drop. There were messages between her and Mark, flirty, suggestive, sometimes downright explicit. They were talking about their secret meetings, how much they wanted each other, and even planning trips. I saw messages about how she was so tired of pretending, how Mark made her feel alive again, how she was done with the boring life with me. It hit me like a freight train. I felt betrayed, humiliated, and furious all at once. I confronted her that night. She was in the kitchen making dinner, and I just blurted out everything I'd seen. Her face twisted into a sneer, and instead of denying, she started lying, saying I was crazy, that I was imagining things, that Mark was just a friend. She said I was paranoid, insecure, and that I was making her feel suffocated. She called me possessive and jealous and told me I was overreacting, but I knew better. I knew she was lying. The way she avoided my gaze, the way her hands trembled slightly when she tried to brush it off, that told me all I needed to know. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every thought kept circling back to her betrayal. I felt like my world was crashing down. The woman I loved, the woman I trusted, had been lying to me for months. And as much as I wanted to believe her excuses, I couldn't. The evidence was right there, plain as day. I was angry, so angry I wanted to scream. But beneath that, there was this deep, aching sadness. I'd always thought we'd grow old together, raise a family, retire somewhere peaceful. Now, I wasn't sure if I'd ever trust her again. What made it worse was discovering she'd taken things a step further. I found out from our bank account statements that she'd been siphoning money, small amounts at first, then larger sums. I noticed a sudden, unexplained withdrawal of $50, $0 just a week before I caught her. When I confronted her about it, she brushed it off, saying she'd been saving for a surprise, or that it was for our future. But I knew better. I looked into our joint account and I saw she stolen over $250, $0, money we'd worked hard for, money that was supposed to go toward our house, our future. She drained our savings, left me with nothing, and then had the nerve to file for divorce, claiming I'd abandoned her. That was the moment I realized she'd planned this entire thing. The cheating, the theft, the divorce, she was orchestrating it all. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. How could she do this to me? How could she lie, cheat, steal, and then turn around and try to take everything I worked for? She's trying to claim the house, our savings, everything. It's like she's trying to erase the years we spent building a life together. And the worst part, she's still lying through her teeth, telling everyone I was the bad guy, that I abandoned her, that I'm the one at fault. I'm telling you, the emotional has been brutal. One minute I'm furious, plotting how I'll get back at her, and the next I'm just crushed, feeling like I've lost the woman I loved. I never thought I'd be in this spot, heartbroken, betrayed, and fighting to save what's left of my dignity. I've got a long legal battle ahead, and honestly, I don't know how this is going to end. But one thing, for sure, I'm not going down without a fight. After discovering everything she'd done, I knew I couldn't just sit back and let her walk all over me. The first thing I did was get a lawyer. I needed someone who could help me understand the legal mess I was about to dive into. Honestly, I'd never been involved in anything like this before, so I was completely in the dark about how deep her lies went. But I knew I had to act fast if I wanted to protect what was mine. Our house, our savings, everything we'd built together. Lisa, of course, played the victim from the start. She told everyone I'd abandoned her, that I'd become emotionally distant, that I was controlling. She even started spreading rumors that I was abusive. Nothing could be further from the truth, but she's good at twisting things. She's always been good at lying, especially when she's trying to get her way. She's got that bitchy, manipulative attitude that she's used to wielding. She's always been the kind of person who can talk her way out of anything, but I wasn't going to let her get away with this. The legal battle started pretty quickly. She filed for divorce, claiming I'd left her and that she was abandoned, which is a flat-out lie. I was by how fast she moved. She knew exactly what she was doing. She hired a lawyer who's good at twisting stories, and suddenly I was facing a fight for the house, the savings, and even custody of our dog, which she's now claiming I'm unfit to take care of. It's all about the money and control for her. She wants to take everything, and she's willing to lie, cheat, and manipulate to do it. Meanwhile, she kept lying about the affair. She told her friends that Mark was just a work colleague, and that I was paranoid, jealous, and insecure. She insisted that she never cheated, that she just needed some excitement, and that I was the one who pushed her away. I could see right through her bullshit, but her words still cut deep. It's like she's trying to rewrite history, make me look like the bad guy, while she's the innocent victim. I knew her game. She's always been good at lying and spinning stories, but I wasn't going to let her get away with it. The money situation was the most infuriating part. I found out she stolen over $250, $0 from our joint account, and I had no idea where it went. I started digging into bank statements, trying to trace every penny. It turns out she'd been funneling the money into secret accounts, buying luxury goods, and even investing in some scam of a business she never told me about. She's always been flashy, but this was next level. She's trying to keep everything, and I swear she's planning to leave me with nothing. I also discovered she'd been secretly meeting Mark in hotel rooms, sometimes multiple times a week. I found receipts for hotel stays, plane tickets, and even a few explicit photos she sent him. The worst part was realizing she'd been lying about everything: her supposed busy work, her busy schedule, her just friends' stories. I felt sick knowing she'd been carrying on with him behind my back while pretending everything was fine. That betrayal cut deeper than I thought possible. But the thing that really pushed me over the edge was when I realized she was planning to take the house. It's worth about $800, $0, and she's trying to claim it's community property that she's entitled to because she's married to me. Frankly, I've never been so angry in my life. I worked my ass off for that house, and she's trying to steal it all while I'm left with nothing but a broken heart and a pile of lies. I knew I had to fight back. I hired a private investigator to gather evidence of her affair, her financial deception, and her plans to take everything. I wanted to make sure I had proof, solid proof, so I could stop her from pulling the rug out from under me. At this point, I'm just trying to keep my head above water. I'm angry, betrayed, and exhausted. I never thought I'd be in a situation where my wife would betray me so completely, especially for someone like Mark, who's just a greasy, manipulative guy just looking to get ahead at someone else's expense. I keep asking myself how she could do this to us, how she could lie, steal, and cheat so shamelessly. It's like I don't even know the person I married anymore. And the worst part, she's still lying, still pretending she's innocent, still trying to spin her way out of this mess. I'm just waiting now, waiting for the next move, trying to figure out how to protect what's left of my life. I know she's going to fight tooth and nail to keep the house, the money, and the illusion that she's the victim here. But I've got my evidence, and I'm not backing down. I want her to pay for what she's done, not just to me, but to everything we built. This isn't just about money or a house anymore. It's about justice. And I'll do whatever it takes to get it. The legal process has been a nightmare. I never thought dealing with divorce would turn into some kind of psychological war, but that's exactly what it is. Lisa's lawyers are good. They're slick, manipulative, and they know how to spin her lies into some kind of victim story. They're trying to paint me as the bad guy, claiming I was neglectful, emotionally abusive, and that I abandoned her, even though I'd been by her affair and theft. It's like she's trying to rewrite the entire history of our marriage in her favor. From the beginning, she's been trying to control the narrative. She's filed papers claiming that I was emotionally distant and that I didn't support her career or her ambitions. Meanwhile, I've got hundreds of texts, emails, and bank statements proving she was sneaking around with Mark, lying to me constantly, and secretly draining our account. I've hired my own attorney and a forensic accountant, and they've been digging through the financial mess she left behind. I've found evidence that she moved money into offshore accounts, bought expensive jewelry and designer clothes, and even paid for trips with Mark under the guise of business meetings. She's claiming she's entitled to half of everything, including the house, worth $800, and the savings she stole. But I've got proof that she's been planning this for months. The day I confronted her about the affair, she started acting even more aggressive, trying to gaslight me, saying I was crazy for suspecting her. She's been trying to turn the kids against me, too. She told them I was abusive and neglectful, which is a flat-out lie. I've always been there for them, always put their needs first, but she's doing her best to make me look like the villain. The worst part is that she's still lying about the affair with Mark. She insists they're just friends, that she never cheated, and that I'm just jealous and insecure. Her tone is bitchy, dismissive, like she thinks she's entitled to do whatever she wants. She acts like she's the victim and I'm the one ruining everything. But I know better. I've got the messages, the receipts, the bank transfers. I've even got recordings of her talking to Mark, planning trips, and discussing how they're going to keep their relationship secret. It's all coming out in court, but dealing with her lies is exhausting. One of the most shocking things was discovering she'd been secretly talking to a lawyer of her own, trying to figure out how to shield her assets and hide her money. She's been playing dirty, hiding funds, and trying to get away with everything. I had to hire a private investigator again to find out where she was hiding the cash. Turns out, she'd transferred hundreds of thousands into accounts overseas, in countries with strict banking secrecy laws. She's been planning this for a long time, and she's not going down without a fight. Meanwhile, she's trying to turn the kids against me, telling them I'm abusive, that I don't care about them, that I left her because I was boring. That's a total lie, and I hate how she's manipulating them. I've always been the one who took care of them, who made sacrifices, who tried to be there for every school event and every emergency. I never thought she'd stoop so low to pretend I'm the bad guy. But I guess when someone's desperate, they'll do anything, even lie, cheat, and steal to get what they want. Every day is a new battle. I wake up feeling like I've been hit by a truck, then I spend hours poring over documents, talking to my lawyer, and trying to stay one step ahead of her. I've started to realize that this isn't just about the money or the house, it's about protecting myself from her lies and manipulations. I've been documenting everything, texts, emails, bank records, everything I can find. I want the court to see the truth, to understand that she's been scheming behind my back for months. Honestly, I feel betrayed in a way I never thought possible. I trusted her. I thought we had a good life, a future. And now I see how easily she threw all that away for some meaningless affair and a quick money grab. It's hard not to feel angry all the time, but I know I have to keep my composure. I can't let her see me broken. I have to fight for what's mine, my dignity, my future, my sanity. I keep reminding myself that I'm not going to let her win. She might think she's clever, that she can manipulate her way out of this, but I've got proof. I've got the truth. And I'm prepared to do whatever it takes to make sure she doesn't walk away with everything, especially not the house, not the savings, and not my reputation. She's the one who betrayed me, and I won't let her rewrite our story or destroy what's left of it. This is far from over, but I refuse to back down. The court hearings have been a whirlwind. Every day I feel like I'm walking into a trap set by her lawyers, trying to spin her lies into some kind of sympathetic story. Lisa's attitude is nothing short of bitchy. She acts like she's entitled to everything, throws tantrums when things don't go her way, and constantly tries to undermine my credibility. She's been claiming I was emotionally absent, that I ignored her needs, and that I was an abusive husband, none of which is true. I've got the texts, the emails, the witnesses, everything to prove she's been lying from the start. One of the most infuriating parts is how she's trying to justify her theft. She says she took the money because she needed a fresh start, that she was stressed out, and that I was too controlling. She's playing the victim, crying in court, acting like I was some kind of monster. Meanwhile, I sit there, holding back my anger, trying to keep my composure. I've never felt so powerless, so betrayed in my entire life. Her lawyers are relentless. They're pushing hard for her to get the house and a significant chunk of the savings. They're trying to argue that the money she stole was joint funds, that she's entitled to half of everything because we were married. But I've got the evidence to show she's been secretly transferring money into offshore accounts, hiding assets, and even using the stolen cash to buy luxury goods. I brought in a forensic accountant to trace every dollar. The results are shocking. She's been laundering money for months and she's trying to hide it all. The day she was cross-examined was a highlight of my life. Finally, I got to confront her lies head-on. She tried to deny everything, but I had the receipts. I presented bank statements, messages, photos, and even recorded conversations. I could see her squirming when I laid it all out. Her face turned red and she started to stammer. It was satisfying but also heartbreaking. I realized how deep her deception ran. She's so good at lying that she convinced even her own lawyer for a while. But once the evidence was out, she couldn't deny it anymore. Meanwhile, I've been trying to keep my emotions in check. Every time I see her bitchy smirk or hear her dismissive tone, I want to explode. But I know I have to stay calm. This isn't just about winning a court case. It's about protecting my future. I've been staying up nights reviewing everything, making sure I have all my ducks in a row. I want the court to see her for what she truly is, a manipulative, greedy woman who's willing to lie, cheat, and steal to get her way. The most bitter part is seeing her try to manipulate the kids. She's telling them I was a terrible husband, that I didn't love them, that I left them because I was bored. It's disgusting. I've always been there for those kids, been the one to pick them up when they're sick, help with homework, go to their games. And now she's twisting all that, trying to turn them against me. I don't know how she's doing it, but I see through it. I've been spending extra time with them, showing them proof of her lies, trying to remind them who their real dad is. The court battles are draining. I feel like I've been run over by a truck every morning, but I know I have to keep fighting. I hired a professional to help me prepare my case, and I've been working tirelessly on gathering every shred of evidence. I want the judge to see the truth, that she's been scheming behind my back, that she's been lying, stealing, and manipulating everyone around her. I want her to pay for the pain she's caused, not just for me, but for everything we once had. It's hard not to feel bitter. Every day, I wrestle with anger, sadness, and a sense of betrayal that cuts so deep I sometimes wonder if I'll ever recover. But I keep reminding myself that I have to be strong, for myself and for the kids. I never imagined I'd be in a situation where I'd have to fight so hard just to keep what's mine. But I refuse to let her take everything without a fight. This isn't just about money or property anymore. It's about justice, about making her own up to her lies and deceit. And I swear I will see this through, no matter how long it takes. The months since the court started have been a brutal test of patience and resilience. Every hearing feels like a new punch in the gut, and Lisa's attitude only gets bitchier and more dismissive. She clearly thinks she's untouchable, that she can lie her way out of anything. Her bitchy smirk when she's trying to spin her stories makes my blood boil. She's been doing her best to portray herself as the victim, claiming I was emotionally distant, that I didn't support her, that I abandoned her when she needed me. It's all bullshit, but she's convincing some people, especially her lawyer, who's doing everything she can to paint her as innocent. I've been relentless in gathering evidence. My private investigator uncovered more than I expected. She's been secretly meeting Mark, not just in hotel rooms but also in private homes, sometimes multiple times a week. I found receipts for trips she didn't tell me about and texts where she discusses how she's planning to leave with everything and start fresh somewhere else. It's clear she's been scheming for months, trying to cover her tracks. The stolen money, the affair, the lies, they're all intertwined. One of the worst moments was during her deposition. She sat there, looking bitchy and dismissive, trying to deny everything. She claimed she was under a lot of stress, that she needed to find herself, and that her affair with Mark was just a mistake. She even had the nerve to say she never cheated, that her relationship with Mark was just emotional. I couldn't believe her audacity. I had all the proof, screenshots, bank transfers, hotel receipts, and I laid it all out in front of her. Her face turned white when I read her the texts, showing her planning secret meetings, talking about how much she wanted Mark, and how she was done with the boring marriage. She tried to cry, tried to act innocent, but it was obvious she knew she was cornered. Meanwhile, she's still trying to manipulate the court. She's claiming I was controlling and abusive, even though I've never laid a hand on her or raised my voice. She's trying to say I neglected her emotionally, but I have dozens of messages where I've expressed my love and support. It's just her way of trying to make the judge see me as a bad guy so she can get the house and the money. Honestly, it's infuriating watching her lie so effortlessly, like she's some kind of victim instead of the scheming cheater she really is. And then there's the money. I finally got the forensic report back, and it's worse than I thought. She's been laundering money through a network of offshore accounts, transferring hundreds of thousands into accounts in countries with strict secrecy laws. She's been buying luxury cars, designer clothes, and even investing in some sketchy business ventures. I found out she's been planning to disappear with it all, leaving me with nothing. That's why I hired the investigator, so I could catch her before she totally wiped us out. Now I have proof that she's been manipulating the finances, hiding assets, and planning her escape route. The hardest part is the kids. Lisa's been telling them I'm a bad dad, that I don't care about them, that I left because I was bored. She's trying to turn them against me, but I've been making an effort to show them the truth. I've taken them to see the evidence, explained everything in a way they can understand. I want them to see that their mom's been lying to them, and that I've always been there for them. It's heartbreaking to see their confused faces when they hear her say I'm mean or absent, when I've been the one sacrificing so much for them. I also started working with a therapist to help me process all these feelings: anger, betrayal, sadness. Some days I wake up feeling like I can't go on. Other days I remind myself that I have to stay strong, for the kids, for myself. I've learned a lot about how people can hide who they really are behind a mask of charm and bitchiness. Lisa been that person for years and I just didn't see it. But now I do, and I'll make sure the court sees it too. This fight isn't over yet, but I'm determined. I won't let her walk away with everything she's trying to steal. I have the evidence, I have the truth, and I have my dignity. No matter how much she tries to spin her lies, I know what she's really about. I've learned that sometimes the most bitter betrayals come from the people you trust the most. And if there's one thing I've taken from this, it's that I'll never let myself be like this again. I'll rebuild, I'll move on, and I'll come out of this stronger than ever. The final court date finally arrived, and I knew this was the climax of everything I'd been fighting for. All the evidence, all the sleepless nights, all the pain. This was the moment I had to stand my ground and show the truth. Lisa sat there with her bitchy smirk, trying to look innocent while her lawyer played the sympathy card, claiming she was a victim of my supposed neglect and abuse. I couldn't help but feel a mix of anger and relief. It was time for the judge to see what she'd been hiding all along. When it was my turn, I laid out everything: proof of her affair, her financial deception, the stolen money, the offshore accounts, the hotel receipts, the texts. I presented the recordings, the bank statements, the witness testimonies. I made it clear that she had been planning this betrayal for months, that she'd lied to everyone, and that she'd manipulated the situation to try and take everything I worked for. I told the court how she'd drained our savings, how she'd lied about her whereabouts, and how she'd been trying to turn the kids against me. I wanted the judge to understand that this wasn't just a divorce but a case of outright betrayal and theft. The judge listened carefully, asking pointed questions, reviewing the evidence. I saw her look at Lisa with a mix of skepticism and disgust. It was obvious she saw through the manipulative act Lisa had been putting on. After a few tense hours, the judge finally made her ruling. She ordered Lisa to pay back every dollar of the stolen money, awarded me sole custody of the kids, and granted me the house, valued at $800, because I was the one who had been honest and supportive throughout. She also ordered Lisa to pay my legal fees and her claim to the house, citing her financial deception and betrayal as grounds. Once the ruling was announced, I felt like a huge weight had been lifted. I had been fighting tooth and nail, and finally the truth had prevailed. Lisa's bitchy attitude turned into a furious glare, but she knew she'd lost. She tried to argue, to scream, to threaten, but the judge shut her down. I watched her storm out of the courtroom, furious and defeated, and I felt a strange sense of closure. In the days that followed, I started rebuilding my life. I moved into the house alone with my kids. I focused on healing, on creating a new routine, and on making sure they knew they were loved and protected. I've cut all contact with Lisa. She's still trying to manipulate everyone around her, but I don't care anymore. I've learned the hard way that trust is fragile, and some people are just good at hiding who they really are until it's too late. Looking back, I realize how much I've grown from this experience. I've learned that betrayal can come from the people you trust the most, and that sometimes the only way to protect yourself is to fight back fiercely, with every ounce of strength you have. I've also learned that money isn't everything. What matters most is integrity, honesty, and the willingness to stand up for yourself, even when it feels like the world is against you. To anyone going through something similar, I'd say this: don't let the lies and betrayal define you. Gather your evidence, stay strong, and fight for what's right. Trust your instincts and never ignore the signs. People can surprise you in the worst ways, but in the end, truth always finds a way to come out. And when it does, you'll realize that you're stronger than you ever thought possible. I finally feel free from her lies, her manipulations, and the betrayal that nearly broke me. And I know now that I can rebuild, that I can move on, and that someday I'll find happiness again.